Despite what you might tell yourself sometimes, Fire Emblem Heroes is a fun game. You wouldn't still be playing it if it wasn't. However, playing it a lot in a short period of time can cause an understandable frustration in the form of burnout, where you feel as though you need to take a break for a while. Here are some of my favorite alternatives to FEH that can scratch that itch for you while you recover from a bad summoning session or an 0-3 SDR run. Langrisser Mobile is a free-to-play tactical RPG with colorful characters and a banger soundtrack, serving as an extension of the Langrisser series of games which debuted on the Sega Genesis in 1991. Of the games on this list, this one is probably the most similar to Fire Emblem Heroes. You won't be overwhelmed with hundreds upon hundreds of heroes, as Langrisser only currently has a 60-man roster. However, the maps are much larger, reminiscent of traditional Fire Emblem maps. Many series staples remain. There's a weapon triangle, as well as things like archers killing flyers, calves having Kanto, and an enemy player phase combat rhythm. However, the main draw of Langrisser Mobile is its cast of characters. Series staples such as Elwyn from Langrisser 2 and Leiden from the original Langrisser appear as meta units, while original characters like Matthew and Almeida get time in the spotlight as well. There's even a stand-in for the Camus archetype, and his name is Leon, and he's very, very good. While Fire Emblem Heroes has a heavy focus on constantly summoning for valuable fodder, Langrisser is much more forgiving on your wallet due to the value it places on the unique skills of each unit. Every hero in Langrisser comes pre-packaged with personal abilities and specials that they can use to their advantage, ranging from AoE attacks, passive healing, movement extension, savior type skills, and many more. Gameplay aside, the one thing that impressed me the most about Langrisser, its presentation, despite it coming close to its 4th year running. The art style is incredibly unique and an absolute delight to look at. You can't go 2 maps without hearing a music track that's playlist worthy. The only weak points is the battle animations can feel quite clunky at times, but you can just turn those off anyway. Finally, Langrisser is known to do collabs with anime and gaming franchises as well. The last time I logged in, they were running a collaboration with the show Gintama, and I got my hands on the little penguin guy. Previous collabs include Trails of Cold Steel, Valkyria Chronicles, and Yu Yu Hakusho among others, but unfortunately reruns are rare due to licensing conflicts. Put all this together and you get a pretty solid FEH-adjacent tactical RPG that can be well worth your time. Although it does have its flaws, like no fixed pity rate, as well as the general engagement problems that come with a PvE-focused game, Langrisser Mobile is definitely worth checking out if you're looking for something similar to FEH to mess around with for a while. Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is the newest title in this video, just barely being a year old. Despite this, it has quickly become one of my favorite mobile strategy games due to its emphasis on team building, execution, and depth. I was first introduced to this game when Ludwig did his tournament with Saikuno, Charlie, and others, and I can say firsthand, this is the game that makes me feel the most like an anime villain. The satisfying feeling when you bait someone into using a hand trap, or when a special effect gives you the edge out of nowhere is tough to put into words, but there's an undeniable thrill in getting to yell, "You've activated my trap card," despite the other player not being able to hear you. Unlike FEH and Langrisser, Yu-Gi-Oh! Requires almost no pulls in order for a player to be successful. The game starts you off with enough resources to build a coherent deck that can be as meta as you want it to be, and any extra spending would be for a player to experiment with secondary decks. For example, the game gives you more than enough gems and discounted bundles, where I could make a powerful and efficient Adamantipator deck, one of the most meta archetypes around, without dropping $1. The best part about this particular deck is it has a funny little sifting mechanic to feed my gambling addiction. Whereas FEH generally requires the player to spend orbs constantly to stay in the meta, Yu-Gi-Oh! Allows the player to have a self-sufficient deck for the foreseeable future, and spending to build other decks is entirely up to you. Speaking of meta, because the game is based around a thriving strategy game franchise, the meta moves extremely slowly with gradual shifts. You aren't going to wake up one morning and find out that the new Winter Dark Magician is a must-pull or anything crazy like that. You might be wondering whether this game gets staled for free-to-play players stuck with the same deck. The truth is, it probably could, but the game has pretty cool ways around this. Duel tryouts and exhibition events are constantly in rotation in Master Duel, allowing people to bring off-meta decks to the party or borrow one of the 3 loner decks. This allows players to explore new kinds of strategies for free, and potentially inspiring the player to try out these new archetypes. The most recent event at the time of writing was the Anniversary event, which allowed use of classic decks like Sky Striker and Red Eyes Black Dragon, to name a couple. I had so much fun crushing people with the Blue Eyes White Dragon deck that I've started building a Blue Eyes deck of my own, or a more current meta-relevant version of it anyways. Of course, no mobile game is designed without setbacks. The most glaring flaw of Master Duel is that it is the most faithful incarnation of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series outside of the official cards themselves. As neat as this leads to the game having an extremely steep early learning curve. Haters of FEH weapon descriptions might be advised to avoid this one, as you're essentially getting a Gen 7 PRF description on almost every effect card. It takes a while to get the hang of what each card's role in the deck is, but with a few internet guides to get you started, this hurdle is definitely a climbable one if you're interested. The Switch version of Master Duel has a tough time managing the graphics sometimes, but that's a nitpick at best. And oh yeah, as with all thriving strategy series, this game is not free from bullshit. Sometimes your opponent will get a good hand and you'll lose on turn 1 for no reason. Sometimes you'll sit and watch while some guy does 12 Link summons until his side of the field is unstoppable. Sometimes your whole field will just get banished for no reason. And sometimes you'll face a goddamn runic deck user. I can't believe people play this deck for fun. Overall, if you like the strategy aspect of Fire Emblem Heroes and want to try a more robust meta with a lot more options, consider giving Master Duel a try. Once you get over the initial hurdles, it can be a lot of fun crafting a deck that works together piece by piece to drain the opponent's life points and become the best, like no one ever was. Or something like that, I don't know, I didn't watch the show. The last game on this list has become one of my recent favorites. The game is incredibly well balanced, to the point where it always feels like the better player has won. The competitive scene has been around for a long time and there's plenty of money to win in it, and there's no meta-changing units on the way. It's extremely kind to the free-to-play audience. What game could I be thinking of, you ask? I'm talking about chess, of course, the greatest grid-based tactical RPG ever made. Timeless graphics, simple rules, and a high skill ceiling highlight this fast or slow-paced tactical war sim. Although achieving a high rank or whatever is extremely daunting, knowing how to play chess at a somewhat competent level is an extremely fun skill to have in your pocket, especially seeing as there's a resurgence between streamers like Ludwig and that one Netflix show a little while ago. The next time your favorite variety streamer pulls out a chessboard, you'll have a nice, fun idea of what's going on. Plus, you'll get to school your friends, which is always a good time. The problem with chess is that you usually gotta play it in short sessions. It's easy for people like me with short attention spans to just get super bored and do something else, but I've been playing a fair bit every day, I've been slowly enjoying it more and more, and that rating just keeps going up, little by little. I'm at around 650 right now, which is not great, but I'm working on it. Well, there you have it. There are a couple other games I considered mentioning, like Mega Man Dive, the actual Fire Emblem games, and the new Street Fighter Gacha produced by Crunchyroll, but that's all the time I'm willing to spend on the script at the current moment. If you stumbled upon this video by accident and you liked what I had to say, please consider, dropping a sub and all that. It helps me figure out what kind of stuff you guys like. I don't know if there are any better FEH-like options out there, but I do know that there is no time, and your sword is enough. Squadala.